So, Fire Emblem Heroes just announced a subscription service, and boy, people are upset about it. Now, I actually regularly play a few other gacha games in addition to Heroes, and actually spend money on their equivalents to the Fay Pass from time to time. Yet, I have no intention of buying the Fay Pass as it is now. Let's look into why that's the case. For context, I should first talk about the monthly passes I do buy. Azure Lane's monthly pass is about $8 for 500 gems, the premium currency that is typically spent on skins or storage space upgrades, and a daily trickle of resources. For those uninitiated, I should point out that the gems aren't the gacha currency in this game. If you look at my cube count here, amassing a ton of this resource is not very difficult. The game basically showers you in it. You'd have to have absolutely no self-control, or get really screwed over by the gacha for an event. The latter honestly doesn't happen that much considering how high the pull rates are. The chance of pulling the character you want is higher than the rate on getting anything from the highest rarity pool in a lot of other gacha games. This brings me to the main point here. Azure Lane doesn't feel like it's constantly extorting you. It's a genuinely fun game that the devs clearly actually care about, their occasional incompetence aside, and I think that they deserve having a few bucks thrown at them from time to time. But you don't have to if you don't want to. And then there's Bang Dream Girls Band Party. Now, I've always quite liked rhythm games, and this one is super solid gameplay-wise and music-wise. The stories and characters in this game are surprisingly good for the type of game this is. And I'm an unapologetic weeaboo who eats this stuff up. But I digress. The monthly pack here is 1,000 stars, the gacha currency, 20 tone crystals, which I feel are abundant enough as it is to the point of being irrelevant due to the rate at which they release things to spend them on, and a daily trickle of stars. Honestly, the gacha in this game is total garbage. The pull rate on focus units on a banner is 0.5%, and pulling duplicates is infuriating. They're close to useless since this game doesn't have a merging system. But as I said, I'm an unapologetic weeaboo. I'll buy the pack if there's a banner with the waifu I want that's currently ongoing. Though, I think the thing about this game that is fine in the grand scheme of things, the units you have don't really matter aside from collecting and making numbers bigger. Sure, numbers being bigger help you score more in events, but it doesn't really have an impact on the actual gameplay. At the end of the day, having bigger numbers doesn't change the core gameplay of hit the notes. So buying into this game's gacha is more of a thing for insane people to do, and I'm okay with that. So now we're at the Fay Pass. First off, let me say the things I like about it. The Resplendent Heroes are a great idea. This is effectively the ethical version of the gacha model, and to be honest, if the Fay Pass had literally just these, I'd be totally on board. You get some nice skins out of it, the ones they showed off in the Fay channel look great, and you know exactly what you're getting out of it. It's basically $5 per character. I don't know about you, but that's a hell of a lot better than spend $75 to get a bunch of orbs and New Year's Selkie. Since it looks like they're even going to be giving us a schedule of what heroes we're getting, it's totally up to you if you want to spend money on it each month. Now, some people are upset by the whole getting +2 to all stats thing here, but seriously though, who cares? People who are claiming it to be a big pay-to-win thing are blowing things way out of proportion. As of now, it looks like it's mostly going to be Gen 1 heroes who need the stat boost anyway. But even ignoring who's getting the stat boost, it's certainly not pay to win in the same way as dumping hundreds of dollars into getting a +10 of the newest addition into the current gen's power creepers. The effects of this are probably going to be pretty negligible, and I don't think the price for this offering is too bad either. Not to sound like an asshole with tons of money to throw around, I'm just a normal asshole, but $10 a month is basically nothing unless you're literally living paycheck to paycheck or are a student with literally no extra money lying around. If someone is acting like there's going to be a huge wage gap in the game now, think about how much money it actually is. I think people are a little too attached to the idea of being free to play for life. Good on those people. I admire your willpower, but at some point you have to accept that you just aren't going to be always on the same playing field as the people who are invested in the game enough to throw a few bucks at it. Let's just ignore the fact that nobody's going to be on the same level as the whales who spend literally thousands per month on this. Anyway, TLDR on that note, costumes are nice, and this doesn't really make the game pay to win. Second, there's the extra quests you get to do with the pass. This is fine, you get more resources just like the other two passes I used as an example. Nothing much to say here, it's really more of an added bonus than anything. Then we start getting into iffy territory. The third feature is you can now summon or support more characters. I kind of wish you could do this already, but given that they initially pitched the system as give a boost to your favorite character, I'm more or less neutral on this. It's fine. And then we get into the ugly, the scummy part of this. The reason I'm not paying for this. The remaining 2 perks are quality of life features that clearly should just be in the game in the next update. There's a button to undo a turn, and the ability to make autoing through content way more streamlined. The quote-unquote turn wheel here would be nice to have. It's been a feature in the mainline Fire Emblem titles for the last 2 entries, and I see no reason why it shouldn't also exist in just the mobile game. The thing about it that's puzzling to me is that the benefit is more or less strictly PvE focused, so it's not like it's going to be a pay-to-win thing. And the difference between using it and not using it is just spending a few minutes redoing something if you make a mistake and fail. Honestly, it's pretty underwhelming considering how useful it is in 3 Houses and Shadows of Valentia. But apparently they think that we're going to really want to throw our money at something like this. Well, I'm not going to support something this petty. And then the more significant of the 2, the more efficient autoing of content. There's absolutely no reason this isn't already a feature, especially considering that there's already an option to just auto through entirely multi-map content like Tempest Trials. Essentially what they're doing here is stupid on a couple levels. They've basically put a value on not playing the game, which says something about the way they've designed the grindier content. This extends to the other point that they've essentially identified a problem, in this case having to keep starting a new run every time the current one is finished, and instead of fixing that problem in an update, they've decided to sell you the solution. This is basically the same kind of scummy nonsense a lot of AAA devs are being thrown under the bus for, and rightfully so. There's no reason a mobile game that, for the most part, has been pretty good with trying to please its player base. There's no reason they should be doing the same thing. So, does my entire argument here boil down to guaranteed things are good, quality of life features behind a paywall bad? Yes. This whole thing feels scummy to me to the point where I even bothered to submit feedback telling them that I'm not going to spend money on anything in this game until they make right on this. The ball's in your court now, IS. Thank you all for watching. If you have any hot takes on this topic, please leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you all have to say. So with that, my name's Garrett. I'll see you all in whatever video I make next. Probably a Let's Play, but who knows? I might do more scripted content in the future.